Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode. I would like to introduce you all today to my special guest, Basma Bushnak, founder and CEO of Emkan Education, recognized as one of the top leading consultancy firms in the education sector in the Middle East. And thank you so much for coming today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Could you introduce yourself and your work a little bit more?
Sure. So my name is Basma Bushnak. I'm Saudi from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Emkan Education. Emkan is a Saudi-based education consultancy, meaning that we work as consultants or experts in education with government entities, private companies, schools, investors in the field of education who are working on education improvement projects. As a person who's passionate about education, I was lucky enough to find this combination between my love for education and also making it as a profitable business.
That's lovely to hear. So for those who don't know, Emkan was created by three female co-founders, Dr. Munira Jamjoon, Sarah Zaini, and of course my guest today, Basma. So three is kind of a magical number, which is why I want to ask you, how much of your progress and success do you owe to having such a strong team?
Oh, of course, most of it, of course. I believe partnership when it comes to business, when it comes to life, is very important. Choosing your partner is making sure that you share the same values, you have a common goal or mission that you're working towards, really makes everything else very clear. And it makes it also easier to face challenges and problems because they will come up for sure. So definitely having such strong partners with me. We're all, as you said, we are all females, we're all mothers. We support each other, we trust each other. We created the safe space for each other to be able to learn, to grow, to be challenged with each other's mirror if you can. And we were also lucky enough to attract also strong women and of course men to join our team and build the Emkan team, as we call them now, the Emkaners. Some of them are not also from an educational background, some of them are from engineering, from business, from finance, but the one thing that they have in common is that they are passionate about education. They want to create an impact and see a change, an improvement in the education sector.
Wow, that sounds so inspiring. And I think it's not only the company you've created, but the message you're sending out through, founding something like this in Saudi, as well as the things you're doing with your clients. And actually, let's dive a little bit deeper into Emkan and the educational sector in Saudi. I'm curious, how do you think technology should fit into the field of education? And do you think we've made good progress in that direction yet?
Yes, of course. Technology is just, being an integral part of education year by year. Anyways, let's go back in time before COVID hit. Sorry. As you know, many countries maybe did not really invest in education technology or in technology as part of day-to-day education practices in schools, for example. But Saudi already had, before COVID started, some projects in public and private schools to build the digital skills of teachers and of students. That's why when COVID hit, and schools were shut down for a while, but when they came back online, it was easier definitely for the schools in Saudi to bounce back because they were already working on building their digital infrastructure. And we saw during COVID also one of the best practices in around the world in distant and online learning was in Saudi, the Madrasati platform. And of course, now these efforts just are continuing, especially now with the appearance of AI in education and in all these very advanced software and tools. So we always see that Saudi is trying to get the best of the technology world in education. And also we see a lot of investments in that field, and we see a lot of capacity building for the teachers in their digital skills.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you mentioned artificial intelligence because I wanted to ask you what your opinion on using artificial intelligence and the metaverse, for example, in education is like.
Well, it's a very fascinating to me, especially to be honest. I believe that these powerful tools that we might not understand it fully today, but we cannot run away or hide from it or fight it. We have to embrace it. We have to understand it. And just like the other jobs around the world that, everyone is worried that they'll be affected by AI, definitely education is going to be one of them. That's why I encourage teachers and educators and even students not to shy away from AI, but to learn AI and learn how to use it in the right way and the most useful way for the benefit of the teachers and the students, and of course for their security also, because definitely this is a very big issue right now, digital security when it comes to students being online.
Yes, definitely. But I think all the countries have made good progress so far in trying to either push for integration in education when it comes to technology and AI, or just regulating it so they can like deal with it first and then come back to it later. Actually, I
Exactly.
want to ask you another aspect of running Emkan Education. It's facing the client's part. So learning has never been, like a one size fits all model. So what do you tell your clients who may want to have like a one size fits all approach?
Well, definitely, we start with the basic understanding that education is should be personalized. Every student has a different way or the best way of learning. The students learn in different environments, and that's why we have to help our client have this vision in mind. So, what do you envision for example, your project or your school or your initiative? How do you want it to be? What are the outcomes? What are the goals? And then we try to work from there, because also our clients are different. Each client comes with a different agenda and a different goal, but they all want to improve education somehow. So it's our mission to help them find their way through this road. And of course, bringing in our expertise, bringing in our knowledge of the field, of what's happening around the world and in Saudi in terms of education advancement and updates. So this also helps a lot. And everything, of course, has to be backed up by research, by data, by science, so that we can have definitely a stronger impact and a more sustainable result.
Mm-hmm. And I see that Amkan, a lot of your research articles have been published online. What do you think makes your research so different from other companies or research organizations?
First of all, we're local. So since we're a local consultancy, we understand the community, we understand the society, we understand the stakeholders, we understand that the needs of the teachers, the students, and parents in Saudi are different than others. So that's why we are very niche in our market, meaning that we only have this knowledge hub about the Saudi education system. And a lot of, for example, now investors, a lot of maybe teachers, everyone who wants to come and work in the education sector in Saudi wants to know more about education in Saudi. So this is why our papers and reports and even blogs, if you found them, they're very localized. They discuss local context, education context in Saudi. And we try, as I told, as I mentioned earlier, that we always have research to back it up. We either conduct our own interviews, surveys, focus groups, to be able to push our recommendations forward and be backed up with science.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, absolutely. I think the job of an education consultant is to really understand their clients and society that everything fits into. But something I've noticed over, the past couple of years is that Saudi is transforming into more of a international and global hub. So do you see education in Saudi transforming alongside of this?
Of course, of course. And this started a while ago. The Saudi parents, realized that their children has to receive not just local education, but global education in terms of standards, in terms of the language. And we're seeing now parents are being more demanding of schools of what they want their kids to be taught, whether it's curriculums or extracurricular activities, after-school activities, STEM, arts and culture. So definitely, yes, and there is now also more awareness from the decision makers that, you know, they opened the Saudi market to accept school operators who are coming from outside Saudi. And these operators also are very respective of the Saudi culture and the Saudi communities, but also they're bringing in their best practices when it comes to education. And I believe that, you know, the Saudi parents are the winners in the end because they're getting the best of both worlds. They're getting the local aspect of education, which is, you know, the Arabic language, Islamic studies and social studies, and they're also getting the best of the international curriculums in terms of the other subjects.
I see. And it's wonderful to hear that Saudi is, I mean, becoming more acceptant of all these different cultures. And the next question I have for you is that I know quality and quantity of education is never evenly spread out across any country. And I know the resources are also not evenly spread out. So what, in your opinion, what do you think Saudi can do in the next couple of years in order to boost its equality and equity in education?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Actually, the Saudi government is already working on a couple of initiatives when it comes to privatizing education. So privatizing education is actually, as you said, making sure that everyone has access to good quality education. And the government is working with the private sector on different initiatives where they would allow maybe students from lower income families, students with different special needs to have access to this high quality education, even if it was paid for and for fees given by private schools, for example. So this is one of the initiatives. Of course, other initiative is that they are working on improving the national standards of education. So for example, now the Education Evaluation Training Commission, which is called ETEC, is working on developing national standards for teachers, for curriculum, and for schools. And this is a very important step towards improving the overall quality of education in any country, where we would have standards and schools would be, and teachers and curriculum is evaluated according to these standards. So this also gives some credibility to the body that is being evaluated, and of course gives the community more awareness of what is high quality education. So I believe the combination of these initiatives and these projects really are going to change and improve a lot of the education offerings in Saudi in the next couple of years.
Yes, I would say so too. And thank you for that insight. And how do you think Emkan and other consultancies play a role in all of this?
Well, to be honest, we believe we're very lucky that we are working in Saudi during these times. You know, we're all working towards Vision 2030, and we see a lot of effort and commitment and obviously budget spending from the government that really supports that. So I believe that it is our role, as you said, as consultants, to make sure that we are also giving our best, that we are very mindful of the community and the beneficiaries around us, especially when we are working on such initiatives. So not just, you know, have our profit or our benefit as a priority, but definitely always put the beneficiaries as the most important part of this project or these projects that we're working on, to make sure that they get the best out of any initiative or any strategic decision that we are taking with the decision makers.
That's a great answer. And let's talk a bit about your journey in education. So where did it all start from? What motivated you to start your own consultancy?
I love this question. I remember I was in high school. I studied in a private national school in Jeddah. So I was really, the school was very good. But again, I was one of the students who struggled with the amount of, large curriculum and content and the memorization part. Back then, long time ago, there was a lot of memorizing of the school, let's say the curriculum, before entering an exam, for example. So I remember one day, it was my last year in high school, and I stood up in class and told all my friends, you know what, I promise you, I'm going to change the education system, and your children will not study in this same way. And I think it's just from then, I got so interested and passionate about learning how to improve education. And that's why I decided to study, my bachelor's. I did it in special education for gifted and talented students. And then I continued also my master's in curriculum and assessment. So I believe that I always had this curiosity and passion to learn more about how to improve education. And of course, after that, I was also, very eager to get any opportunity that I can in working in the field. So I worked as a teacher assistant in a university. I worked as a teacher for a student with special needs in a center. I supervised gifted and talented programs until I arrived at the point where I felt that, you know what, I now have a good amount of experience and knowledge, and I would like to start my own thing, with my own standards and my own identity. And that's when I was also lucky to find my two partners who also wanted the same thing, and we started Emkan. So I believe the lesson out of that is don't underestimate any opportunity that you get, when it comes to a job, a training opportunity, internship. If it's something you love, something you enjoy, because definitely it will lead you to the right place, and it will exactly teach you what you need to learn to get to your bigger goal and higher purpose.
Wow, that is so inspiring. And I know you've been leading Amkan for 10 years now. And obviously there has been ups and downs. So I'm wondering, was there ever a moment where you really look around you and you're like, wow, I made it. This is what I wanted to achieve like maybe 5 years, 10 years ago, and now I've made it and I know it.
Yes, I believe definitely, alhamdulillah, there were many points, but I think they come all recently because first of all, as a Saudi female, as a business owner, as someone who started the business during these 10 years where a lot of changes happened in our society in Saudi, sometimes you just get really into the work and in the business and forget to give yourself some credit. And you have to also to prove yourself, you have to prove your commitment. You have to prove that you are serious about what you're doing. Build the team, build the company. So sometimes you forget to celebrate the small victories, but when it comes, the acknowledgement, when it comes from outside, that's when you realize, oh yes, definitely, we accomplished something. And we are very lucky in the past couple of years, we were recognized by many authorities, by many bodies. And the last of them was now an article in Entrepreneurship Middle East talking about all three of us, the co-founder. Before that, also, we got recognition from some of the clients that we're working with. And really, it's the most important thing is for us is our reputation. So when we are approached by a client and, when we ask them, how did you know about Emkan? And he says, another client referred me to you. I know that I have succeeded because I have built a service and a brand that is of high quality and it is recommended now to others. So I think this was really a point of victory and success for us.
Mm-hmm. And definitely congratulations for being featured on the cover of
Thank
Entrepreneur.
you.
And I think your years of commitment and dedication to this one field has really proven successful. And this kind of leads me to my last question. So if you had one piece of advice, best piece of advice you can give to a high school student, what would you say?
Wow, very exciting. High schools are the best years of life. So definitely my first advice would be enjoy it as much as possible. I know it's not easy now because you're overwhelmed with exams, with maybe college entry applications, you're worried about the future, but I'm telling you, just try to enjoy the process and learn as much as possible. Every opportunity you get, try to grab it and learn from it. Never stop learning. Never believe that, oh, khalas, I'm done with school. I don't need to, read books anymore, attend courses anymore, whatever. No, you have to be a lifelong learner. This is the only way that you can survive. The world is changing rapidly around us, and you have to be always able to reinvent yourself to meet the needs of this changing world. And of course, find your values, find your purpose in life, because this will be your compass, and be true to yourself. This will always lead you into the right direction.
Absolutely. I totally agree with all of that. Well, that does bring us to the end of this interview. A huge thanks to Basma for her insights, and it was a very educational conversation. And also thank you, as always, to my viewers and listeners. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you, Jalen. Good luck.